Hey, last week we talked about God's success formula, and today we're going to continue it with a part two. Now, last week we talked about Psalm 1, we kind of broke it down, and the things that are pulled out of Psalm 1 that actually lead to our success and why they lead to our success. Today we are still in Psalm. We're going to go over Psalm 128. And basically, what's amazing to me is that the path to success is simple, and a lot of times there's a million videos over how you succeed, the 7 steps to success, the 7 habits of, like the most successful people, the rules of war and 50 laws of power. And you know what I mean? There's the Napoleon Hill success, um, law of success, and all of those books, right? Think big. We can go on and on and on. But the most amazing thing is when you peel away all the layers and you get back to the foundation of it all, it's really one rule. It comes down to one rule, one principle. All of those principles can be summarized in one psalm. All of the principles, all of the hundreds, thousands of pages in text can really be simplified in one psalm. And that is Psalm 1, right? And if you want to summarize, and also Psalm 128, either one of those, they both are telling you the same thing. Excuse me. So let's read Psalm 128. Psalm 128 says, "Blessed is everyone that fears the Lord, that walks in his ways." That's the sum of it. That's the sum of Psalm 1. That's the sum of all of the success books you've ever read, whether they're talking to you about integrity, they're talking to you about perseverance, whether the lesson is about consistency, loving other people, serving other people. All of those things are what God tells us to do. All of those things are, if you read the book of Proverbs, if you read the book of Psalm, if you read the success stories of First Kings, Second Kings, the kings who were in power and the ones who flourished and the ones who were in God's grace, the ones who are not, it all comes down to blessed is everyone that fears the Lord and walks in his ways. God's ways tells us to not be lazy, to not hit the snooze button over and over again, to watch the ant and to see how they gather in the summer so that they have food and storage for the fall and the winter, to be of integrity, to be honest, to be just, to not steal, to, you know what I mean? So all of that can be summarized into blessed is everyone that fears the Lord and walk in his ways. 2 goes on to say, "For thou shalt eat the labor of your hands." That means that when you work, it's actually going to bring forth fruit. Your work is not going to be in vain. Your work is going to be prosperous. And not only is it going to be prosperous, you're going to actually benefit from the work you do when you work in a way where everything you do is in alignment with the right way. Talking about immoral, a lot of times I feel like I have been in a place where I'm very caught up on whether or not I am, is the marketing plan the right way? Is the font I chose for the flyers um, the correct font, right? Am I marketing to the right demographic? All of that stuff, it means nothing if what I'm building is not built in integrity, is not built in laws that are rooted in God's way. And even if I have success and it's not rooted in God, it's like building a business or a house on sand. It doesn't stand. It fades away. And that was something else that Psalm 1 was telling us. It was telling us that when you do things God's way, when you meditate on his word day and night, when you don't take advice from people who are ungodly, when you steer away from ungodly advice, when you steer away from being a snob and looking down on people, but when you are humble and when you are gracious and when you listen so that you have your ears open to hear from God and you're obedient, you're going to succeed even when the business plan isn't perfect. You're going to succeed even when the marketing plan isn't perfect. You're going to succeed even when you don't target the right demographic, because what ends up happening is when you're constantly talking to God, he will direct you and redirect you as you go. So I'm not saying that you don't study business practices. I'm not saying that you don't read a marketing book and know how to market and know how to target your demographic. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is do those things, but also but first, not even also, first and foremost, make sure you're listening to God, because God knows everything. And when you pray and say, hey, God, I'm working on this business venture, I'm working on this content media business, and I want it to be successful. Bless it so that it be the full potential of what you have made me capable of. Give me the wisdom, give me the knowledge, give me the strategy. When that is your prayer, in addition to you seeking, because the word tells us, seeking you shall find, right? So when you pray for success over your business, when you pray for God to guide you and to direct you, and when you seek the answers, God reveals the answers to you. And when you're building and you build in integrity and you build in a way where you are committed to doing things honestly, you're committed to doing things within the boundaries of rules of engagement that God has set out for us, you're going to flourish. You're going to be successful. And it says, your wife, I'm sorry, back to 2, for thou shalt eat the labor of your hands. Happy shalt thou be, and it shall be well with thee. Thy wife shall be as a fruitful vine by the sides of thine house, thy children like olive plants round about thy table. Behold, that thus shall the men be blessed that fear the Lord. The Lord shall bless thee out of Zion, and thou shalt see the good of Jerusalem all the days of your life. Yea, thou shalt see thy children's children, and peace upon Israel. So that one verse again, it starts off with, blessed is everyone that fears the Lord and walks in his ways. That is honestly the key to all success. Start there. If you're wondering how to succeed, if you're getting frustrated with the outcome not being what you dream and not being what you envision, take it to God. Ask God for what you want. Ask God to reveal to you what he wants for you, so that your desires are in alignment with the plan that he has for your life. Work the plan in faith. Always stay open so that you can pivot and take direction, because as you are moving, God is going to tell you, when is the best time to post and when is the best time to send out the marketing material and what the messaging should say, who you should speak with, who you shouldn't speak with. And above all, God's hand, like when God blesses something, even things that everything can be wrong. The product could be not fully developed yet. The marketing plan cannot be the perfect marketing plan. The messaging can be off. The lighting cannot be the best lighting. But I'm going to tell you, when God's hand is on something, when God blesses it, it's going to be blessed no matter what. So, really, all success just starts with loving God, fearing God, because the fear of God is what keeps you in check. When you fear God too much to rob people because of the consequences. When you know who God is and you fear God, meaning you respect God and his presence and his judgment, you fear God too much to lie to people, to make false promises, to not deliver, to take people's money and then not give them what they paid for, to oversell hype and do a bait and switch. The love of God, the fear of God keeps you from doing those things. And any woman who operates in integrity, success is inevitable, right? So that's really all I wanted to come on and say today. This is a part 2. If you didn't catch part 1, God's success formula, then go back and listen to part 1, where we really break down Psalm 1 and we break down the lessons that are in Psalm 1 that are the foundation, that are the necessary pieces for success. Psalm 128 really just supports and reiterates what's spoken in Psalm 1. It all comes down to fearing God, doing things his way. If you really want a full success blueprint, I really encourage you to read Proverbs. Proverbs breaks it all down in terms of work ethic, and also Ecclesiastes too, because Ecclesiastes keeps you grounded, um, in terms of, like, it keeps you grounded in terms of how not to take things too seriously. And not only that, it keeps you grounded because it grounds you in how fragile and how temporary life is, not in a way that's depressing if you understand it. If you don't understand it, you can walk away from Ecclesiastes feeling discouraged or depressed. But if you understand it and you read it all the way through and you pray and you ask God to be your Bible study teacher as you read Ecclesiastes, you'll walk away with a respect for life, a respect for making the most of time. And also, it just puts everything in its proper priority so that you understand that the most important thing is life with Jesus Christ itself. And everything else is secondary, and it kind of takes the weight off and it puts everything back in proper perspective. So, for this series, we're going to continue to study Psalm. We're going to also read Proverbs and dive into Ecclesiastes. But for this week, if you haven't, go back and listen to part one, which is God's success formula, and read today's verse, Psalm 128, and really dive into, ask yourself personally, my actions, do they say that I fear God? Do my actions say that I am doing my best to walk in to walk within the moral code and to walk within the right way of doing things that God has set out for me? Do I fear God? Do I love God? And when you're making a move, don't over spiritualize it. Go, like, whatever your plan is, whatever your business plan is, whatever your marketing plan is, just go, because like I said, success is a living and breathing organism, and it's constantly changing and evolving. Or should I say, the path to success is a living, breathing organism that's always morphing. So as you walk out life and as you do things, you're going to get feedback. And as you get that feedback, you pray and you talk to God, He's going to guide you and direct you. And that's why a lot of times, sometimes you'll have people who are jealous of people who are favored by God because they may have, they may have a doctor's degree in business or in finance. And then they don't understand how someone else who doesn't have nearly as much experience is extremely successful. And a lot of times, what people are missing is those people have the God factor. If you have the God factor, if you have God as your business advisor, if you have God who knows everything, who created everything, who sees everything, if that's who's guiding you through the business process and telling you what moves to make, your success is inevitable. If you're committed to doing things His way in integrity and with good moral standard, and His blessing is on it, the sky is the limit. So never feel intimidated, never feel ill equipped, because if you have God, you have everything. Never feel as if you don't have the right connections, never feel as if you're lacking anything as you pursue your dreams and your vision and your purpose, because if you have God, you have everything. If you have God, you have everything that you need to succeed. So read Psalm 128. Write out a business plan this week. This week, write out just a few, like, if you looked at all the things that you had going on, what's one thing you can do this week that would really move you towards your goal? Pray about whatever that one thing is. Pray to God about how to execute that one thing, and make it a goal this week to execute at least one task that's going to bring you closer to your dreams and your visions for success in your life. And until next Sunday, I love you so much. Be blessed.